During those moments of distress, disillusionment, discouragement, doubt, fear, we have to understand this one thing, and that is that Spirit, God, the universe, whatever you call it, has your best interest at heart. If it were not so, you would not be alive today. The fact that you are still alive means there is hope. If we can only strengthen our resilience, if we can only understand certain truths, we will make it through. The one thing we do not need to do is to give up. So do not give up. Do not give up. I've been there many times, been through the waters, been through the floods, been through the fire. But guess what? I've pulled through every time. I'm going to share some secrets with you. I'm going to share some understandings, some things I've come to realize by taking a walk, taking a step. And at the end of the day, I've always understood that faith, God, Spirit, the universe is on my side. If you can only understand that, also, most of the work is already done. It starts in our mind. It starts with our mindset. So hear this. A few days ago, when I took my morning walk, meditating, thinking through the direction of my life, the next steps I need to take, and trying to figure out some plans, some thoughts dropped in my spirit. And today I'm going to share those thoughts with you. I believe that these thoughts will be of particular help to you if you're feeling down, discouraged, distressed, doubtful, all those D's. Stay tuned. Welcome back. I'm Angie Marie, and yes, you've reached my YouTube channel. If you are a return subscriber, God bless you. I really appreciate you. And if this is the first time you're checking out my channel, I'm so happy you chose to click on this video. My prayer is that you'll find this video very helpful and that it will encourage you in some way, in the same way these thoughts encouraged me. So as I said, I was taking my usual walk and thinking through some things, and there were 5 words that dropped in my spirit. The words were why, what, when, how, and where. And as I processed these thoughts, this is what came to me. Some of those words, they could be seen as adverbs, adjectives, pronouns, depending on the context. However, this is the point I want to make. The why and the what is largely up to you, up to me. However, the when, how, and where, many times in our lives, depend on not just me, not just you, not just us, but also the Creator, universe, Spirit, God. Okay, now I don't know what situation you're facing at the moment. What I do know is that life has its challenges, and very often things become really difficult for us. Things become difficult mentally, emotionally, financially, physically, in terms of relationships and otherwise. But what I want you to know today is that regardless of what your situation is, regardless of how difficult things may seem, regardless of how challenging things may seem, we can get through this. And here's my belief: as long as you're alive, there is hope. So the fact that some things that happened to you years ago did not kill you, the fact that the COVID-19 pandemic did not totally destroy you, means that there is hope. It means that there is more for you to do. So let's talk for a moment about why. Why are we here? Why are you here? Have you ever stopped to think about it? So let's say you're facing some serious financial or other struggles at the moment, and you feel like throwing in the towel, you feel like giving up. But hey, let me tell you something. If you have a strong why, if you can focus on why you are still alive, why you are here, that's the first step in making it. For me, for example, this morning when I decided I'm gonna do the video, here's my why. That I'm committed to you, for one. But 2, I feel that I have something in my spirit that I do not need to keep in my spirit. Someone will benefit from my experiences and what I have on the inside. So that's my why at the moment. And so I decided to stop, sit down, and shoot this video. What is your why? And how are you gonna make things happen based on that why? The relationships that you have in your lives, Sometimes we go about living without thinking about why we're doing this and why we're living. I believe one of the most important things that any adult could do or figure out is their why. Why are we on this earth? Why are we doing this? Why do we make the choices we make? Once we have some good whys, that's the first step to get through. Secondly, let's talk about what. So what are we gonna do in order to accomplish our choices, in order to accomplish our whys? That morning when I was walking, I was trying to think about all the options that I had. And I said, okay, this is what I want to do. This is what I believe I need to do. And to be honest with you, I had a few options. And sometimes when you have options, it creates a bit of confusion. So very often we need to sit down and study and think through what it is that we need to do that will give the outcome that we want. So our whys and our whats are really up to us fully. And I do that a lot. I sit down and I literally write down my options. These are the pluses and the negatives, the pros and the cons if I do this. These are the pros and the cons if I do that. This works a lot for me. How about if you try to do that? What I do is instead of giving into discouragement and distress, I pause and I say, why am I still here? Okay, focus on you, focus on me, we focus on ourselves. Why are we here? And what are we going to do to get ourselves to our next level? It's up to us, friends. So I was faced with, hey Angie, what are you going to do? As usual, this is life. We always have those moments when we have to make some decisions. What are you going to do? What if I make this choice? What's the potential outcome? If I do this, what's the likely outcome? And I'm going to encourage you to do the same. Don't be discouraged. Listen, there is hope. If we can get our mental together where we can think and figure things out and put all the distractions and the disappointments, the discouragements behind us and just keep going, we'll make it through. So the third thing is when. For me, I have a decision to make and I have a timeline, a time frame within which I need to work. Now, sometimes we cannot really see the real outcome that we want within the specific time frame that we have. So for instance, if you have 2 months to make a move or to make a quick decision about taking an important decision concerning your job or where you're going to live, relocation, or so on, you may have a deadline that says, well, I need to be out of here within 2 months. So I need to take the steps that I can control, take the actions that I need to take for me based on the deadlines that surround my situation, that surrounds your situation. But here's the thing that I think Spirit, God, the universe dropped in my spirit that day as I walked. Here is what came to me. Listen, the when of your final outcome is largely up to you and also up to God. Because God is the one who will give the increase. We can plant seeds, we can sow, but what if the rain doesn't fall? What if there's a water shortage or something that will restrict the outcome or our harvest? So we do need God, we do need help, spiritual help. We need the blessings from the Creator Himself in order to attain or achieve what it is that we really want to achieve. So for me, I felt like, okay, I will take the necessary actions that I need to take. Don't delay, don't miss your flight, make sure you're on target. Don't be late, for instance, in paying that bill because you know if you don't pay it by this deadline, you're going to have some additional fees and you're probably struggling already in terms of your finances. So when is important? When we take the action, when we do the planting, when we sow is important. That's determined by our efforts as well on God. And that's why we need to pray and ask God to bless us. We need to make sure we're sowing properly, we're doing the right things, we're making the right choices so we don't lose out, we don't miss our opportunities. So that is what I want to say about the when. Part of it has to do with us, and the increase, part of that has to do with the Creator. Fourthly, how. And again, the how depends on me, depends on us, and depends on guidance from our Creator. Have you ever been in a situation where you feel so incompetent, where you feel that, you don't have the answers. You don't know how this is going to work out. Have you ever been in that situation? I've been there. I can raise my hands. I've been there. How is it going to happen? And this is where faith comes in. And I'm telling you guys, it works when you really believe, especially when you're going through those dark times. If you believe and just do not give up, just keep going, just keep praying, keep meditating, keep walking, doing your part, stay healthy, stay well, because as I've always said, as long as I have health and strength and the courage, I'm going to pull through. And that's what I want to encourage you to do as well. So when it came to the how, sometimes there are some blockades because we know we need to take action. Okay, we need to make some plans, but there are times when it becomes cloudy. There are times when it's very gray because we're like, oh my gosh, I do not have all the resources I need to make this happen. So God, how is it going to happen? I've been there at various points in my life. And then a light just came to my spirit. I got the revelation that, you know what? In terms of the how, do your part. Take care of the part that you need to take care of, and leave the rest to God to take care of. And spirit, the universe, God will direct you and show you how. How? It could be a phone call, and I've experienced this over and over. Once I have the faith and I decide this is what I'm going to do, and this is my deadline, how it's gonna happen, God, make a way for me. Guess what? Phone call. Yesterday, for example, unbelievable. I had this phone conversation that I'm like, oh my gosh, this is only God. This is only God. And friends, I want to encourage you about this. Seriously, once you make up your mind that, yes, I feel down, I feel discouraged, admit it, I'm in distress, but I'm not going to give up, and I'm going to trust God. I'm going to have the faith and believe that He will help me with the how. I will take care of the parts that I can take care of. And God, I'm asking you to help me and show me. And when you show me, I want to just listen and do what I'm told to do. Do what your spirit, do what you tell me to do. That's it, friends. That's it. Time and time again, especially when you're going through some dark moments and some challenges where you're saying, oh my gosh, I know I need to do this. I know I need to be making some money. I know I need to take care of my family. I know this is what I need to do. You know your why. You know your what. You have an idea of how. You know when. You know that some of the work starts now and that the rest, God is going to reveal it over time. But where sometimes become a challenge. Let me tell you, that happened to me too. That has happened to me many times. But let me just say something to us, friends. Where we situate ourselves is very, very important. As a matter of fact, I'm learning, and I believe that where I live at a point in time is perhaps the most critical thing that determines final outcome. And as I think about that, I'm going to tell you something. I recall in my youth, in my 20s and before, driving around in certain communities and seeing homes, and I say to myself, I would want to live there. Would you believe that in my lifetime, I've literally lived at the places that I said I want to be? When I said to myself, I want to go to Africa, and I wanted to go to Africa, guess what? The doors opened, and I've been to Africa. When I said, I want to know what it feels like to go to Latin America, I want to go to Brazil and Argentina and Ecuador and Peru and Panama and the places that speak Spanish. Guess what? The doors opened and I was able to go to these places. Now, to be honest with you, going to Ukraine, for instance, was not a dream as such, but when the opportunity came that was the place I needed to be for the start of an important project, I said, okay, I've never been to Ukraine before, but Ukraine is it. When I needed to be in the UK for a period of time, that was it. And a lot of this is for the experience. We need to visit places, and I keep telling you, I keep telling my friends, I keep telling the people I know, find a way to travel because it will help you. But yeah, let's get back to the where. So where we settle is so important. Throughout my life, over time, I've worked in different places and I've been able to assess the work environment, for instance, the work scene. I've lived in various places and I've been able to assess. Let me tell you something. There are some places that if you have to live there, it needs to be for a short period, because You need to have the mental capacity. You need to have the mental strength to be able to perform. And for instance, if you are a creator, like myself, someone who creates projects and shares information with people, to be able to be creative where you are is so very important. I was able to focus on my YouTube channel and eventually monetize within less than a year, because I believe part of that was having the quiet peace and so on of being in Ghana for a year. I was able to do that. Now, I think if I was in a major city with a hustle and bustle and all the stress, let's say New York, I don't know if I would have done it, because there's just so many other distractions. We need to be honest with our desires and how we feel. And I've been there, I've gone through that, where there's a struggle where part of me says, oh, I can be here, I can be there, I can be there. And for various reasons, I'd want to be in this particular location. But then if I'm thinking about my goals, my why and my what and my when, sometimes we have to just admit it, that where we need to be is at this particular place. So that also happened to me, where I had to face it. And once I said, okay, this is where I want to be, I did my research, just like that, the universe opened it up. Phone calls and things started happening that made it clear. You may not be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel, or the rainbow, or the silver lining around the cloud. Right? You might not be able to see that at a point in time, but let me tell you something. If we don't give up and if we keep going, eventually you will see it. Don't kill yourself. Do not take your life. Keep going. Stay focused. Believe. And again, let me say this. Your why, your what, your when, your how, and ultimately your where are so important. All right. I'm praying that I was able to help you in some way, and I want to thank you for staying with me to the end of this video. God bless you. Enjoy the rest of your day. This is Angie Marie, and I'll see you soon in the next video.